So, day 4 of the 2022 World Cup has just ended, and it's been a pretty eventful day. A shock win, a 7-goal win for Spain, and also a goalless draw, and a very good final game between Belgium and Canada. All of that to be discussed by myself, Mohammed, and Nicholas. So, boys, I guess there's only one place to begin, and that is with Germany versus Japan. Of course, what a result it was for Japan in the end. A 2-1 win, coming from 1-0 down to win the game as well. And Mohammed, Germany, who exited the World Cup in 2018, 4 years ago in the group stage as the holders, and now looking at the fact they've got Spain next, it could be the same story again for the Germans. Not the ideal start.
100%. I was expecting Germany to dominate the ball, which is what they did. And the problem is, in football, the old saying goes, if it's 1-0, the game is never okay. You have to get the second and the third goal just to kill the game off. And Musiala, oh my word, what a play that guy is. Just going past defenders left, right, and centre. He was probably the best player on the pitch for Germany. But I was a bit frustrated as well with Japan. Obviously, some of the times they made their runs way too early. But to be fair, credit to them, they got the result in the end and they dug in deep. But also, I was a bit disappointed with. They brought on Mokunko from Dortmund at the end instead of Leroy Sané, which was a bit of a surprise for me. And Julian Hoffmann came off the bench as well. I was expecting Karim Adeyemi, who's a fantastic winger. And we saw Mitoma on the left-hand side. He was having so much fun. And I think Adeyemi would have pinned him back and not let him run. But the problem with Hoffmann is that he's not that quick. And Mitoma was just running past him, and it was just kept catching him up. Rudiger, another one, he hasn't not played for Real Madrid over the past month. He's just come back from injury, and I was thinking they might rest him, might play Thilo Kehrer, who's at West Ham, just to ease Rudiger in. But it's a bit of a surprise from Hansi Flick's side, so.
Yeah, absolutely agree there, Mohammed. I mean, as you say, obviously I had the pleasure of watching Real Madrid quite a lot this season, but Rudiger has been very in and out of the team. But I think this German team just isn't what it was, obviously, when they won the 2014 World Cup. For me, the current German team is missing a lot of characters, and that was the thing that, growing up for me, Germany team always had so many characters like Bastian Schweinsteiger, Jens Lehmann in goal, Philipp Lahm, all great leaders and stuff. And I thought this Germany team is seriously lacking that. And Nicholas, obviously, but I think as much as we can sit here and criticise Germany for their performance, you've got to give credit to Japan. They made a really good account of themselves 4 years ago, unfortunately exited in a very dramatic game against Belgium. But Japan, though, today, absolutely brilliant. And they stuck in there as well, didn't let their heads drop when they conceded, and a 2-1 win for Japan. What a start for them. And given the fact they've got Costa Rica next, they've got a good chance of getting out of this group.
Yeah, definitely. No, they were really good. They obviously had that goal disallowed in the first minute. Of offside. But no, they were really good. I don't think Germany were very good. I mean, I know they went 1-0 up, but I think they were quite lucky to be 1-0 up. And I think Japan, they're a decent team, but they're sort of in that sort of second or third bracket of teams in the World Cup, with Mexico, Poland, Cameroon, Senegal, Ghana, Holland. And yes, I am putting Holland in there. But yeah, no, I don't know. Really, really good result. I mean, I think Germany, I know we're trying to throw some Japan, but just briefly on Germany, they just look very old. I mean, I know that's not a very good description, but it's old and slow. I mean, I know Germany's not a nation you would associate with fast-flowing football, but they just look old and slow. And they looked old and slow in 2018, obviously, when they lost to South Korea and Mexico. So I don't quite know what they were thinking. It makes me a bit annoyed that we didn't beat them in the somewhere in the Nations League, but that's by the by. But I can't remember his name now, but the manager got his substitutions bang on, bring on Mitoma and the guy that scored, Tommy Asu obviously as well. So no, I think they were really, really good. And with Costa Rica, who obviously got tonked by Spain 7-0. I think they'll be hoping of the last 16, going through to the last 16. That's a good thing about the World Cup, is you only really need to win. You only need to be half decent in both games, and you'll probably go through. So no, really good start. As for Germany, with Spain up next, I'm not quite sure where they go. I can see them having either a lot embarrassing, like a group stage exit, or some sort of predictable sort of bowing out in the last 16. But either way, it's not good, and I don't really know too much about Hansi Flick to have too much of an opinion. But no, yeah, I don't know what they were doing, but yeah, they looked all over the shop really.
Yeah, Mohammed, obviously with the shock result yesterday with Argentina, Saudi Arabia, 2-1 win for Saudi Arabia, and now this, do you feel like this will give teams in this World Cup that little bit of belief, to be honest? Because obviously no one would have said Saudi Arabia to beat Argentina, but I feel like even this game, yes, Germany aren't what they were, as we touched on, but a lot of people thought this would be a comfortable win for Germany. And when Gundogan put that penalty away to put them in front, a lot of people thought Germany go on and win comfortably. But you feel like these sorts of results are going to give the lesser teams that little bit of belief in this tournament that, maybe they can spring a few upsets?
In the World Cup, you can never take anyone for granted. I think Germany did do that today. They just thought, we'll get the second goal now, we'll press, we'll do this. But to be fair, credit to Japan, just kept getting out the press. And even just before they scored that first goal, Sakai, from 4 yards out, he missed. That was the warning sign. It was a massive warning sign. Hansi Flick was going, well, he looked calm on the side, but from inside, he must have been frustrated. You cannot underestimate anyone in this World Cup. It's on the national stage. Now we see people now in Germany who are absolutely livid. All their players play within Europe, and some of the Japanese players, they play in the Japanese league, which is chalk and cheese. European football is completely different to the Japanese league, which is typically a little bit slower and it's not as physical. So on paper, Germany were meant to beat Japan. This is a shock result, but for any other team, you think as long as we fight hard, we fight for every ball, we make sure that we understand that the better team will have chances. But as long as we hang in there and our manager makes the right subs at the right time, we should be able to get a draw, or in this case, even a win, and deservedly so as well.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with Mohammed. I think, like you say, taking teams for granted is the worst thing you can do in the World Cup. And I feel like that's something that Germany were very good at when I was growing up. I feel like they always seem to go into games and, they always gave 100%. And that's why they usually rolled countries like Japan over. But it doesn't seem to be the case anymore. But again, full credit deserves to go to Japan. Nicholas, one player I do want to question really today from the performance side of things was a player we're all familiar with in the Premier League, Kai Havertz. Obviously, he's been occupying a false nine role now at Chelsea and even obviously for Germany for quite a while. And I just feel like today performance, does that prove that maybe, obviously, we'll touch on Spain in a moment and they've done really well without a striker. But for Germany, Havertz in that false nine role, it just doesn't seem to be really working out for him, does it? I mean, he looks lost at times there for Chelsea. And once again today, he had the same, pretty anonymous, to be honest. And again, it's that lack of a clinical finisher for Germany, you can say maybe cost them the game.
Yeah, I didn't quite catch all of that because I think you cut out. But I got the basic gist of it. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't sort of focusing on too much on his performance, but yeah, I know because when we played him at Stamford Bridge, sort of a couple of weeks before the international break, before the break for the World Cup, yeah, again, I mean, we were really good, but he didn't have that too much of an effect on the game, and that was the same today. I think I didn't really notice because he wasn't really doing anything. I mean, it's not just him; the whole German performance was way below par, but. Yeah, I know. I don't really know. It's weird. We sort of, I mean, I think Spain. I mean, although you can never underestimate anyone, I think Spain have, they were playing Costa Rica, who are probably not going to go through, and I know they may yet go through. I may eat my words, but I don't think so. So, but yeah, I know it's weird. I think sort of some teams you sort of operate without a strike. I know it's obviously a big thing. At City, obviously not now they've got Haaland, but yeah, I know it's an interesting way of going about. So in this case, Spain and Germany could get hurt, so maybe against a better teams, like France or Brazil or after Argentina. So no, it's an interesting way of going about it. But yeah, I think that Germany missed a striker today because their attacking players are all much of a muchness. Musiala, Havertz, etc. All sort of tricky wingers, whereas if they had a sort of number 9 like a Giroud or a Kane or an Mbappe or even dare I say it, Ronaldo, then they might have been different. But yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting way of operating. I think along with shaky defense. I think it definitely cost Germany today.
Okay, so final question about Germany then, guys. Mohammed, I'm going to ask you, yes or no, will Germany get out the group now?
I don't think they will. In the World Cup, you have to win at least one game or even potentially two. But now they've lost the first one. The pressure on them against Spain, who they have to put a couple of goals past them and hope that Costa Rica do actually beat Japan. And in a World Cup, it's not ideal. You don't want to be relying on any other team. You want to have it in your hands. And if anything does go wrong, the team have only got themselves to blame. But now they're relying on Costa Rica to beat Japan, and that's not an ideal situation to be in. And I think that's what will cost them. I don't think they'll beat Spain, and I think they probably will finish third in the group. But they won't get out of the group. As fortunately, it is what it is.
Yeah, I think I have to agree with that. Nicholas, what about yourself? Do Germany get out the group, yes or no?
Sorry, Sam, I just missed that. Could you say it again?
Sorry, I say, do Germany get out of the group now, yes or no?
No, I'm going to agree with Mohammed. I don't think so. Like what Mohammed said, I can't see them beating Spain. I think it'll be a close game, but I can't see them beating it. I can't see them beating them, and then I can't see Japan losing to Costa Rica. I mean, I think Germany will probably beat Costa Rica in the last game, but then if they've lost to Spain, it doesn't really matter. So no, I don't think so. I think Japan and Spain will go through.
Excellent. Well, that's enough from Germany and Japan. Next up, it is Spain, Costa Rica. Right then, guys. So, Spain 7, Costa Rica 0. The biggest win in the World Cup since Portugal defeated North Korea 7-0 back in South Africa in 2010. It's got to be said, this was a statement victory from Spain. Of course, myself living in Spain at the moment, Spain fans weren't really too excited going into this tournament, to be honest. I think a lot of them quite pessimistic. Obviously, they've been quite spoiled in the last couple of decades with them 3 consecutive tournament wins, 2 Euros and a World Cup. But this, though, was very impressive. Yes, Costa Rica were poor, which we'll get to. But Mohammed, what a statement win for Spain this was.
I'd say the best person who had the person who had the best view was Unai Simon in goal. He didn't even have to do anything. Perfect night for him. Just sat there 5 touches and just watched his teammates absolute dominate Costa Rica. That's probably the easiest game of his career. And also, just outplayed him in every department. Couple of times Costa Rica did go on the attack. Spain too clever for them, just snuffed it out. The 3 in midfield, all from Barcelona, Pedri, Gavi, and Busquets. Oh my word, them 2 youngsters are gonna go far in the game. Remind me of a younger Iniesta and Xavi, the way they were playing. Just honestly, roll back the years. I was really happy to see them play. And obviously, Gavi got his goal. What a player! And the front 3, I was a bit surprised with Olmo. He's not played as much as well. He'll just come back from injury. He didn't really play in Leipzig's last couple of games, even though he was fit. But he just had so much fun. Just kept going past his marker for fun. And Costa Rica in the end just had no answers at all. And 7-0 could have been a cricket score. It could have been 10.
Yeah, no, I agree, Mohammed. And to be honest, as I was looking at maybe a new generation of Spain I was talking about earlier, 7 of the starting 11 is their first ever appearance in the World Cup. And also 5 of the 6 goal scorers also is their first appearance as well. The only one it wasn't was Asensio. So really, it's a new generation coming through at Spain. And I mean, saying that Gavi and Pedri remind you of Xavi and Iniesta, don't really think the praise can get much higher than that, to be honest. But they've got a long way to go to reach what those 2 players achieved in the game. But they keep up performances like this, then they'll certainly maybe come close. Nicholas, though, as for Costa Rica, obviously a country who defied the odds in the group stage 8 years ago in Brazil, obviously a group with Uruguay, Italy and England. They finished top of that group unexpectedly. But I thought it was going to take some beating to be to top Qatar for being the worst team in the first round of fixtures. But it's fair to say Costa Rica have probably done that. I mean, they looked all at sea today and defensively all over the place. And yes, Spain were incredible, but Costa Rica, though, were really, really poor.
Yeah, I dedicated this game to Mohammed as I needed to go on a walk before I went stir crazy. But But what I followed from the game, it looked like exactly how you described. I think, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't think they're a bad team in the way that Qatar were a bad team, in that Qatar just looked utterly hopeless, that they never played a game of football before. Whereas Costa Rica at least do have some some sort of footballing pedigree, and I still hold up a little bit of hope for Costa Rica in that it is the World Cup and you do never know. And, I think that is one of the tighter groups. So, but as for this, I mean, it's a tough game, Spain. I don't think anyone expected them to win. I mean, I know we have Saudi Arabia beat Argentina, but I know. I don't know. It's a weird one, really. I think they're probably victims of being in that sort of cluster of teams in South America. There's just so many teams, not even teams haven't even qualified, like Colombia and Peru and Bolivia, and then obviously Brazil and Argentina, that it's probably quite hard for resources and funding and all that sort of stuff, unlike Saudi Arabia, which that is basically them in Qatar. So I don't know. It's unfortunate, really, because they might have thought 2-0, 3-0, let's sort of have a bit of damage and a limitation. But yeah, for it to get to 7 is quite, I don't know. I'm not quite sure how you recover from that. It'll probably be the same for Iran as well. I don't know. From the stats, it looked like Costa Rica didn't really do anything. So, yeah, a bit unfortunate for them. But I don't know. Just hold out some hope for them that if they can get a result in the next game, then you never know. But it's looking unlikely at this point.
So, Mohammed, with a performance like this today from Spain, I've got to ask the question. I know, obviously, people will say, it's Costa Rica, they're expected to win. Looking at today, though, maybe not just from today, but just looking at the team they've got, how far do you think this Spain side can go in this World Cup?
I think it's the perfect team, really. There's a blend of youth as well. There's a lot of experience. We just have to look at the centre backs. You got Rodri, who plays CDM. He's playing centre back, and next to him he's got Aymeric Laporte, and on the right they've got Azpilicueta, and on the left Jordi Alba. 4 guys who have played in Europe's biggest games, and in front of them you've got a veteran in Busquets, the 2 midfielders Gavi and Pedri. Wow, young players run around, lots of energy. So it kind of balanced that out, and the attack as well. Daniel Almo on the left, and it was it was, I can't remember. Danny Almo, and they were the 2 players. Just had fun. Asensio as well. 2 players who really I didn't expect much of going into this World Cup. But if they play like that every game, and it was sort of fearless approach. And I've seen a lot of Luis Enrique teams in the past with that fantastic Barcelona side, yeah. And it's sort of vintage of how he wants to play. It's just keep the ball, and they're also technical. Every Spanish side in history has had, probably with the passing, they're so technical, and we saw that today, over 1,000 passes. I think Costa Rica barely managed 300 between them, and it just shows you how dominant they are. I think they definitely will get out of the group stage, but I'm not too sure if they'll go all the way. But the signs are there. This is a good team, and people should not write them off.
Absolutely. Spain do certainly have promise after this one as well. The confidence is going to be through the roof going into that Germany game. So a very good start for Spain. That's enough, though, on Spain, Costa Rica. Next up, it is Belgium versus Canada. So Belgium got off to a good start, but I mean, it was not easy. Canada certainly put up a very, very good fight in this game. And Nicholas, a lot of people saying this Belgium golden generation has kind of already ran its course. Yes, they've still got the players from the Euro 2016 and World Cup 2018, of course, finished 3rd in that tournament. But Belgium weren't convincing. Yes, they got the win, but if they were playing a team of more quality today, you really feel like they would have come unstuck, really. But in the end, Batshuayi scoring the winning goal for Belgium. It's a good result, but performance-wise, plenty to be concerned about, in my opinion, for Roberto Martinez, and Canada can take a lot of pride from this performance as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think of all the teams that have lost so far, I think Canada are the ones that look most likely to still get out of the group. I know it's hard to get out of the group having lost one game, but yeah, I don't know. If I was Canadian, I'd be quite frustrated, really. I don't really know how they won, how they lost even. Obviously missed the penalty. Should have had another penalty in the first of the foul by Axel Witsel. Probably could have had a handball, the other I think again in the first half, and then I mean, I don't know, they didn't miss like sitters in the same way that Japanese guy did. They were all sort of half chances, but I mean they were good chances, but they weren't sort of 1 yard out and put it wide or anything. So it's sort of hard to lambast them too much, I think. But yeah, I think as for Belgium, yeah, I think the same with the same with Croatia and Germany. I think they've got a good team individually. Individually, it's probably the best team in the tournament. But I think just as a team, they just again look slow, a bit static. Kevin De Bruyne had an off night. Sort of playing like the Victor and Hazard have sort of been here forever. It's just sort of I don't really know what I know this sort of golden generation and all that, but I don't know. I sort of what they lost to a Wales team that it was okay, but it wasn't that good in Russia. Russia, yeah. No, the Euros, and then finished third in the World Cup behind a pretty average Croatia team, and then in this one. So yeah, I don't know. I can't see them winning it. I think there's a reason they weren't really in the favourites discussion before the tournament. And yeah, I mean, and as you say, I think against Brazil and Argentina, or not maybe Argentina, but Brazil, us. Because yeah, they really did not look that good, and I think I think they probably should have got rid of Martinez quite a while ago. Don't really know what they're still doing with him in charge, but yeah, I know I don't really know what they're doing, and I can't see them getting any further. They'll probably get through the last 16, but I can't see them getting any further than that.
Mohammed, obviously you mentioned about Canada can take plenty of pride from this performance. Were you surprised, Mohammed, with how well Canada played? I mean, because Canada really have been a bit of a mixed bag going into this tournament in terms of expectation. Half people have been saying they're dark horses. The other half have been saying they've got no chance. And yes, Belgium have got a lot of players, of course, in decline. Obviously, Hazard hasn't been the same for a few years. The likes of Vertonghen and Alderweireld certainly aren't the players that they were. So do you think maybe from, a Canada point of view, obviously they kind of exploited that maybe? Unfortunately, though, for Canada, they just lacked that little bit of cutting edge, I'd say, in the final third, which is what let them down. But a performance Canada can take plenty of pride from. However, it's still one that you've got to think to yourself, it was there for the taking, and in the end, they came away empty-handed.
100%. The way they were playing, the wing, the left side and the right side, they were just catching out Castagna and the Carrasco. They were both getting caught. It was just the pace. The three centre backs just looked so slow. Then Donker, Vertonghen and Alderweireld, there's no pace there. It's absolutely astonishing. And I think the problem with them, it was just the final ball. They had 21 shots, and you'd expect at least a good side to have at least 10 on target, at least half, but it's just the final ball. I think the best chance was the header by Riot. It was a really good header, but the experience in the second half of Belgium just bailed them out. And with Alphonso Davies, they were relying a lot on him in the first half. And second half, I think he just returned back from injury as well, and he didn't really look 100% to me. But it is what it is. They should have done a lot better, though. That first half, they were really unlucky to be 1-0 down. Midfielders were working really hard, but there were little glimpses in that first half where Belgium did get out the press, and the balls fell to Kevin De Bruyne, and he's got 50 yards just to run. There's nobody around him. And if you think about it, the last 4 years, Kevin De Bruyne has been one of the best footballers. You can't give these sort of players that time and that space to run into, because they will punish you. I think they were quite lucky that some of the Belgian players, like Kevin De Bruyne, was having an off night. Had they been a bit more clinical, it could have got really ugly. But Canada, credit to them, they stuck in there. But their manager is going to be livid with that first half. They were all over Belgium. It's just, and Alphonso Davies, I was a bit disappointed with that penalty. It was poor, it was low, there was not really much power in it, and we all know how tall Courtois is. He's going to save that every day of the week. But I would have liked Jonathan David to have stepped up. He's the striker. That's the striker's bread and butter. It's not for the left back to come and just take that. So that's probably one I would have liked the manager to say, no, Alfonso, you're not taking it. Jonathan David's taking it. But maybe he felt a bit confident, and at the time they probably thought, let's go with him. He seems a lot more confident. Unless Jonathan David stepped back, I didn't really see that. But Yeah, I think it's a poor penalty. They were really unlucky to be down by halftime, and the second half it just summed it up. Belgium, with the amount of experience they have, just saw the game out, and they were just one step ahead. The game became so stretched. Belgium could have got a second, but yeah, credit to Canada for their first game. They played really well, but Belgium were there for the taking. I think that'll be the most disappointing thing for their fans because they had a lot of support as well and a lot of people cheering them. And I think they'll be disappointed that they didn't really take their chances. I think had they taken the chances, it would have been a fantastic game. But credit to both sides. But Belgium I think that big experience in the big games just got them over the line.
Yeah, I agree with what you guys said completely, to be honest. I think what Nicola said about De Bruyne having an off day, I mean, watching De Bruyne for Man City, for the last few years, really, I mean, today, a lot of misplaced passes and stuff and a lot of chances to play in his teammates and he got it wrong, which is something you very rarely say about Kevin De Bruyne. And that penalty miss as well, Mohammed, I completely agree with you. If that goes in, I think that completely changes the final. Obviously, it would change the final result because Canada would have scored. But I mean, as in it changes, I think Canada probably go on and win the game because the amount of momentum they had, even after the penalty, the amount of chances they had was crazy. But I just think they'll be disappointed that they didn't turn them chances into great chances. They were more half chances. But in good news, though, guys, the last time a Belgian goalkeeper saved a penalty was in the World Cup was 1966, and we all know what happened in that tournament. So that's the good news about the penalty save. And
Sam, sorry to interrupt you there, but even on the goal as well, it was just one ball over the top, and it just took out the whole team. It's a poor goal to concede in the end, but it just summed it up. Belgium just one shot or two shots in the first half, and they took their chance. You have to be ruthless like that, and Canada didn't have it.
Yeah, I mean, if we can just indulge England just for a second, I will let you move on. But Spain, well, we'll just count Spain in this conversation. But France played Australia, doesn't really count. Germany lost. Argentina lost. Belgium unconvincing. Italy not there. All I'm saying, that's what I'm going to say.
He's throwing it out there.
You can only hope, but we'll take it one game at a time. And then next game is against USA, of course, on Friday. So a really good chance to get 6 points on board and get there. So that's enough about Belgium, Canada, and Uruguay. Next up, we've got Morocco versus Croatia. So, guys, Morocco 0, Croatia 0, the first game of the day, and definitely the most uneventful. But to be honest, it was not an as bad 0-0 as I think as some people are saying. However, Mohammed, I think that, again, it was a sort of game, the first half, I think Morocco played really well. I think Ziyech looked really lively, and I always say that, like, Ziyech and Pulisic for Chelsea, they're different players when they put on their national shirts. I thought Pulisic the other night for USA was brilliant. And Ziyech in the first half was fantastic, I thought, against Croatia today. But second half, he kind of disappeared. Obviously, Croatia, we know they've got, a lot of players retired from 4 years ago. They've not got the likes of Mandzukic or Rakitic anymore. They've still got Modric, who seems to still be playing like a 25-year-old, to be fair to him. I've had the pleasure of watching him many times this year in Madrid. But I think it's fair to say, looking at Croatia today, it's definitely easy to tell this team have regressed. But as for Morocco, they give a good account of themselves and another team who can take quite a lot of pride from their performance today.
100%. I was really impressed with Morocco. The way they were set up, the press, everyone was working as a team, and it was just the midfield trio. Croatia just couldn't get anywhere near them. Modric had a couple of touches, and then bang, he got tackled. They lose the ball. It's quick turnovers. I think all the shots were really half chances. There weren't really any clear-cut chances. But I think the best chance did fall to Mazraoui, the header. I think if he had taken it, but it's good save by the Croatia goalkeeper. But I think the Morocco manager will be a bit disappointed with his side with the chances with that chance, the header. But I think he'll also be disappointed with Mazraoui as well because he did go off on a stretcher, which is quite worrying. And he's been one of their key players over the past couple of years. And I see with Mazraoui, he's keeping Bayern Munich, he's keeping Pavard out the side. Pavard's a World Cup winner. So his performances this season have been fantastic. And to lose him this early would be an absolute tragedy for him. But yeah, going back to Ziyech, wow, considering for someone who's not played much football in the build-up to this tournament, He played really, really well in that first half. Looked like a spark. And it's always better when he's got Hakimi there with the overlapping runs. He never gets tired. Just put the ball in there. Hakimi will make the run, and he's always overlapping. I think Croatia were a bit caught up by that, but I think Zlatko Dalic, the Croatian manager, got it wrong. He played Souza and Juranovic as the two fullbacks. I wanted to see Bona Barisic, who plays at Rangers, at left back, and on the right, I wanted to see Stanisic, who's at Bayern Munich. I wanted to see them too, but the midfield, I think Zlatko Dalic will also be disappointed with that. With the midfield trio, you can't just hope that Modric or Brozovic or Kovacic will get you out of trouble. And Morocco, credit to them, that defensive performance, they're going to be hard to beat. If they play like that, teams are going to struggle to break them down.
Yeah, Nicholas, we won't go on about this game too much, but I mean, we will get your thoughts on the game. Obviously, Croatia, finalists 4 years ago. Obviously, as I said at the start, a lot of changes in their team since then. But I think Morocco were more the story of today, to be honest. I think they played really well. And I mean, I'm not really expecting Morocco to go really far in this tournament, but performances like this give them a little bit of hope for the group stage, though. I know they've still got to play Belgium, but if Belgium play like they did today, Morocco will have a chance against them. And even Canada. So I think Morocco are a team who I think are more the talking point for this game. And yeah, fair play to them. I think they give a very good account of themselves.
Yeah, I think this group is quite open. And yeah, I mean, it wasn't the best game. It wasn't quite, I mean, obviously it was 0-0, but it wasn't quite Mexico-Poland 0-0 levels of bad. But yeah, on Croatia, I mean, my dad, I remember him putting in one of our WhatsApp groups that the Euros last year was this tournament too far for this Croatia team. Obviously, we beat them. So if that was a tournament too far, then this one they're probably well past their sell-by date, because Modric is still a very good player, but the rest of them just look nowhere near. Obviously, they've got, I think, Mandzukic now on their coaching staff. Perisic is obviously not the player he was sort of a few years ago. So. Yeah, I think Croatia would probably just about sneak out of the group, but they're not. I don't think they're going to get any further than the last 16. But yeah, on Morocco, I mean, yeah, they look decent. I mean, they don't. I think going forward they're lacking a bit, sort of a punch. But I think at the back they're quite solid, though. They're looking quite solid. The Croatia didn't really test them in too much, so I think it was one of those games that looked like it was going to be a really good game, and then sort of petered out a bit once Morocco sort of maybe didn't quite have that attacking panache. So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting one, because I don't think Belgium are bankers to go through. I mean, I think they will go through, but I don't think they'll sail through based on today's performance. So, no, I don't know. It will be an interesting one. I think the big game will be when Croatia do play Belgium, and then we can really see how good those two teams are. But at the moment, yeah, I think at the moment, if you're Morocco or Canada, you're remaining quite optimistic, I would say. Obviously, those teams are yet to play each other. We'll see. But yeah, it's quite an open group. Not a group you would have thought would be in this position prior to the tournament. But I think Morocco, a bit like Tunisia actually yesterday against Denmark, who got a 0-0 draw. And I think might not feel it at the time. You think, should have won. He'd be in a really good position. But yeah, 0-0 draw is a decent if you can win your second game, and you're pretty much through. Like 4 points is not quite 9. But yeah, as far as Morocco, I'd be feeling hopeful.
Absolutely. Well, that's enough for today's action anyway, guys. We're going to move on to tomorrow's action. So, guys, the first game of tomorrow happens to be Switzerland versus Cameroon. Just obviously not too much time left, but I will get your quick thoughts on that game, starting with you, Mohammed. What are you expecting in this game? Obviously, Switzerland come into the tournament with a little bit of hype, and they always usually give a good account of themselves. As for Cameroon, though, they always seem to get to the group stage, but they don't really ever go much further. So a bit of a challenge for Cameroon. Obviously, a very tough group, this one, with Serbia and Brazil also involved. But what's your take on this game?
I think Switzerland come into a better form. They're in a bit of... They come into a tournament with a bit of hype around them, rightly so. I think the midfield for them is going to be key. We've seen Xhaka this season, what he's doing for Arsenal. And if he can bring any bit of that to this Switzerland side, it's fantastic, because you've got a midfielder who's running from deep, breaking the lines up. And if he does that tomorrow against Cameroon, they've got to be switched on. And I can't see Cameroon doing too much in this World Cup, unfortunately. And I think Switzerland will have a lot of fun. They're there to take part, and they challenge the big teams. Like we saw in the Euros, put up a massive fight. And is this what you expect from him? And I think, Xhaka will be one of the key players for them. Experienced veteran midfielder who's probably playing, in my opinion, he's playing in the prime of his career. Some of the football he's playing. And I think he will probably be the talisman they sort of rely on, because he's got that Premier League experience that some of these other players may not have. But I think Switzerland will win tomorrow. I think 2-0 comfortably.
Fair play. And Nicholas, next game is Uruguay versus South Korea. Obviously, it's going to be a very interesting game. Uruguay, always a bit of an outside bet in major tournaments. I mean, you speak about the team just spoke about being old today, because Uruguay have especially got an old team, I must say. But still, though, some winners in there and some really good experience. As for South Korea, obviously, we know they did beat Germany 4 years ago, and obviously a lot's going to depend on the fitness of Son Heung-min. But how do you see this game going anyway? Do you think that you expecting a comfortable win for Uruguay, or you think there could be another World Cup upset?
I mean, no, not necessarily. I wouldn't bet against South Korea. I mean, what they might lack in sort of star-studded players, other than obviously Son, they make up in sort of quality and in sort of team spirit and sort of character, a bit like Japan. Although Japan are probably marginally better. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm going to go with the South Korea win, 2-1.
Excellent. Well, that's a nice upset prediction there from Nick. But with this tournament so far, I won't put it past it. And, well, Mohammed, next up we've got Portugal versus Ghana. And obviously the big news about Cristiano Ronaldo, rather unsurprising big news, it must be said, has came out that he has left Manchester United. And unsurprisingly, all eyes will be on Ronaldo tomorrow. But with all this publicity Ronaldo's currently getting, do you think that could possibly work against Portugal? I mean, Bruno Fernandes has obviously had his say, saying basically that he doesn't think it will affect them. Portugal have got a really good team on paper. There's no doubt about that. They've got to be a bit careful that this is not an easy group by any means. And any slow start from Portugal, like we've seen from Germany and Argentina, they could leave themselves in a bit of trouble.
I think with the debate that's going around Ronaldo, I think what happens off the pitch needs to stay off the pitch, and what happens on the pitch stays on the pitch. And that's what the team need to separate. And Ronaldo, is a experienced players, captain for the side. He would say that to the players. What's happened with him only concerns Ronaldo. It's not about what Pepe thinks, what Ruben Diaz thinks, what Rui Patricio thinks. It's got nothing to do with them. It was between Ronaldo and Manchester United. It's been sorted in the best possible way for both sides, both parties. And I think, that's where he will want to draw the line under it and focus on the World Cup. And then he'll think about potential clubs afterwards. We've seen this morning he's been linked with every club. But Ronaldo rightly said, I'm focused on the World Cup. I'm not worried about my club football. And rightly so, but they've got some really good talents there. João Felix, Ruben Neves, Bernardo Silva, just to drop a couple of names in there. And even at the back, Ruben Diaz and Pepe, arguably, it's what they like to have is a young centre-back and an experienced centre-back. Pepe has been, has won multiple Champions League with Real Madrid, and he got Ruben Diaz as well next to him. A young defender coming up, but who's arguably one of the best defenders that are right there in the world. So it's pretty interesting at the minute to see. But I think Ghana, they'll be relying a lot on their European players such as Thomas Partey. I'm expecting Thomas Partey to sort of have the ball for him, keep it, protect that back four, and play those sort of one-touch passes where he's got to take out Pepe and Ruben Diaz. But I think the quality they have, Portugal, I can't see Ghana, unfortunately, doing anything, and I think it probably will be a comfortable win. I think if once Portugal get the first goal, Ghana will have to push out. Once you push out, you've got Ronaldo, Bernardo Silva, Bruno Fernandes. They're already waiting there for the counter attack. As soon as one mistake, bang, they're gone. And so I think that's what Ghana will have to be wary about. It's to ride their luck at times, but to do what Japan did today. Stay in the fight. Don't let it get too embarrassing. And then let the manager make the right decisions at the right time. Bring on a couple of fresh legs. And then once a bit of Portugal players are tired, you got to take them out there and then try to turn it around.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess I can definitely see a Portugal winning that one, but you never know in this World Cup so far. Nicholas, final game tomorrow, one that I cannot wait for, mainly because Brazil are going to be in action, and I cannot wait to see this Brazil team play. I think the hype around Brazil going into this tournament, though, has been so much really that you kind of feel like with the amount of hype they have got, it could be their downfall in a way because, yes, they've got a lot of great players going forward, but can they keep them all happy and fit them all into one team? I think, obviously, Vinicius Jr., another player I've had the pleasure of watching this season. He's been fantastic this season. Neymar's having a great season at PSG. Brazil have so many good attackers. I'm just a little bit worried that they're not going to be able to fit them all into one team, and that's got to be the question. However, Serbia cannot be underestimated. Mitrovic has been in great form this season. They've got other players around him. Any potential upset here, Nick, or are you expecting Brazil to make a statement win?
No, I think Brazil will win. But I don't think it will be easy. And I think Mitrovic has been in really good form for Fulham this season. So, I mean, I don't know. I'm not so confident of a Brazil win. I think Brazil will win, but I think it'll be tight, although I would like Serbia to win. But yeah, I mean, I don't know about Brazil really. I don't know. I don't know. I don't buy the hype. I mean, I think they're a good team, but it's just, yeah, like you say, how do you fit all those players in? It's a bit like they're probably you think England could have, and maybe still will have. How do you fit all those players in? And I don't know. They've looked quite good, on paper for the last two major tournaments, for the last two World Cups. And the one in their own country, they lost 7-1, and then they lost to Belgium in the one in Russia. So yeah, I mean, I think Brazil will get to quarterfinals, semi-finals probably. But I wouldn't be totally unsurprised if Serbia do get something tomorrow.
Yeah, it's going to be a difficult game for Serbia. But as you're saying, Nick, Brazil, of course, there's a lot of people hyping them up, and that could really be their downfall. So really enjoying the World Cup so far, guys. I hope you are as well, of course, back in England. Records are going to be broken at this tournament, but one record's already been broken. That's how much added time we've had at this tournament already. There's been about 3,500 minutes added time already, I feel like. Every single game there's been. England-Iran's added time was a total of 24 minutes, and goodness knows what the stats are, but it's certainly breaking records, that's for sure. But thank you very much for joining me, guys, on Global Goals podcast this evening. I hope you guys are, as I mentioned, enjoying life back home and enjoying the World Cup. And let's hope, I know this day is not about England, let's hope England can keep up their momentum, guys. Come on, let's hope we can, let's hope it's coming home.
Yeah, definitely. Come on, it is.
Anyway, thank you very much, guys. Thank you, and we'll catch you soon.